Chapter 11. The Prospect of Employment. A tree standing beside a spring meadow with fresh green grass and mosaics of white and yellow daisies dispersed around it becomes a less welcoming place to sit and rest when winter arrives and the landscape is darkened by cloud, the grass lying prostrated by wind and rain. I left Waterstones in Canary Wharf, London, on the 13th of September 2010, ending almost 24 years of full-time employment. During my working life, I had been a postman, a teacher, a barman and a bookseller. The latter started in the year 2006 in the town of Newbury, Berkshire, where I worked for 7 months before returning to London. The period of September 2006 until April 2007 contrasts sharply with October 2010 until May 2011. Though the length of time was similar, the former period witnessed the death throes of an illusionary happiness. A happiness I had built which consisted of shadows to obscure the blunt edges of truths I did not wish to see. The latter months were full of the vivid colour experienced from living and not just passing the days. As the emotions of Stephen and I swung wildly between sorrow and happiness, between hope and despair, and between understanding and near uncontrollable rage, we became allies despite the fierce independence making his companionship not always easy to accept. And it was that independence that made it extremely difficult for me to accept his rage as the only one entering our house. Before moving to Portugal, we had imagined that it would be I who would find work easily in our new country. I had a qualification in teaching English as a foreign language, and it was I who had experience working abroad. Stephen intended to continue teaching music via the internet. But because the idea was untried, it seemed as likely to fail as succeed. Just before leaving employment the previous year, after we had signed the agreement of the house which committed us to completing the purchase within a few months, I had started to apply for teaching positions. I discovered, using the internet, that International House at Queenborough was looking for a teacher and interested in meeting me. But when I had sent my emails, neither Stephen nor I had known about the negotiations, anxiety and waiting that would accompany the selling of the London flat. And despite frequent correspondence between myself and the Director of Studies at the language school, the position I had been considered for was filled by the time I reached Portugal. I kept a folder in my email account which contained 41 messages exchanged between me and different institutions teaching EFL here in Portugal. They dated from the 12th of September 2010 until the 6th of June 2011. And although, to my knowledge, during these months no one ever accused me of living off Stephen, I needed the record of contacts to prove to myself that I was trying to find work. The last emails concerned the prospect of work in a city 88 miles away, and at the interview I was asked why, after a break from teaching while I worked in the bookshop, I wanted to return to the classroom. I had replied that I liked the dynamics of a language classroom, and I believed it was a good way to discover other cultures. Yet, as I spoke to the director of the school, I realised that although the reasons I had given were true, the one I had not mentioned had become the dominant one. I believed it an easy way into employment. And following this discovery, I stopped searching for language teaching positions and work in the city. Returning to teaching was no longer what I wanted, and the time had come when a part of who I had been would serve me better by being no more than a happy memory. I became acutely aware that the little of me that needed a life away from my partner was precisely that, only a fragment of the person I now was, and without the man who stood beside me, I feared a less welcoming image of me would be seen.